Hi guys, welcome to my channel. Now, I love Nidalee. She's cool and fun and has a nice playstyle. However, I think she has some issues that warrant a mini rework of some kind to help her stay relevant in the modern era of League. Now, this video is just some ideas on how to do that, how to, address some of her issues, keep her relevant in the current meta, stuff like that. Not saying she's bad or anything like that. She's perfectly fine as is. It's just, I think her kit is a bit outdated and she could use a mini rework of some kind. So, full disclaimer before we get started, these are just update ideas, not saying these need to happen or anything like that. It's just ideas to get the conversation going. And take everything I say with a grain of salt since I'm more of a casual Nidalee player instead of a main. And also jungle is not my preferred role. But with that being said, let's talk about her main issues. Now, based on my own experience, watching other people in my games play her, and watching more advanced players and mains play her in videos on YouTube, these are the main issues that I keep seeing come up when people play her. One, the spear is way too hard to hit, even for more advanced players. Like, I literally watch people who are like, I don't know, like platinum, diamond, whatever, I don't play ranked. More higher elo players, they still miss a crap ton of spears. And it's just like, at some point, you have to say, like, the spear's way too hard to hit. Like, you shouldn't have to have, like, a master's in algebra or something to be able to hit a spear, right? Right. Two, there's no way to get out of combat. Like, if you go in on somebody and full combo them with your cougar and everything, and they don't die, you either have to fight your way out or die. Like, there's not really an easy way to get out of combat, especially in team fights. This becomes a problem because she doesn't really have the best survivability, especially for a long fight. And three, her traps in her human W, they pretty much feel useless after your first clear or two. Like, I never see anyone ever use her traps, like, in any meaningful way into, like, the mid to late game. Like, sure, they may place them down, but they never really are useful. They never really become, like, help her in any way. So, yeah, her traps feel pretty much useless after you complete your first jungle clear or two. Also, her visuals are a mess. They need to be updated, but this video is not about her visuals, so we will not harp on that subject for long, but we all know she needs an ASU. So, having said all that, what are some ideas that I came up with to maybe help revitalize her a little bit? Just help her become more meta instead of like a more niche pick. So, her passive. In addition to the move speed through jungle bushes and the hunted passive thing, how about we give her like an additional passive based on whether she is in cougar or human form? How about in human form, her attacks deal additional damage based on her level and ability power, right? Like if you have like 100 AP, like she gains like, I don't know, 5 attack damage. I don't know, I'm not good at math. While in cougar form, how about she has increased magic resist and armor? That would really help her in fights. That would really help when she like goes in on somebody and like if they don't immediately die from her combo, she can still like fight them a little bit and have a better chance of surviving and waiting for her abilities to come back off cooldown instead of just like being a sitting duck and just praying you don't die, you know? Human Q, the spear. Make the hitbox bigger. Just make it bigger. Oh my gosh, it's literally almost near impossible to hit. Please make the hitbox bigger on the spear. I'm begging you. I now I get a huge amount of her power comes from the Q. So a lot of people are like, the incredibly small hitbox balances out how much power the Q has. How about to compensate for making the hitbox bigger, we take out some of the damage from her human Q and distribute it among her Cougar abilities? Like, right? That makes sense, right? So that way she doesn't lose any power, it's just distributed somewhere else. And also she can have that bigger hitbox. Because, I feel like the spear should be easier to hit than it is right now. Right now, it's so incredibly hard and small to hit, and I feel like that is such a big problem because, well, yes, a large part of her damage does come from it, but also it's her main way to apply hunted and, gank. So it's like, why is her main way of applying her passive just so hard? And I'm not saying that like it needs to be so incredibly easy, like guaranteed to hit. I'm not saying that at all. Nidalee is still a more difficult champion to learn, and I feel like, that learning curve should still be respected. However, just make the spear a little bit easier to hit. Like just make the hitbox somewhat bigger. Just at all. Just, Change number 3, the human W, the traps. A, increase the AP ratio by like 10 to 15%. Like make the damage actually do something, because like it's really just null and void how much little damage it does. Like it really is at this point. And also, more importantly, when an enemy champion walks over a trap, either stun them or at least slow them. Because, like, why? What is the point of traps if, like, it doesn't do anything? If it doesn't, like, trap them in some way, add a stun, add a slow, make them worth it somehow, so that they aren't just, like, useless throughout most of the game. Her human E, the heal. Now, many people say you can just like take out the E and replace it with something else. And you know what? That's true. That is a valid argument because, that is true. However, I personally like the heal, so I want to keep it in this rework idea. But I think, like, especially like the first 3 levels of it doesn't really do anything. It really, really doesn't. It's only when you get to like rank 4 and rank 5 of the heal ability and when you're like low on health that it actually becomes worthwhile. So, my idea is to increase the heal power in the more early levels, increase the base healing amount in the more early levels. Also, this is just another idea, but the attack speed feels so random. Like, she doesn't really. Like, she's not an AD champ. She doesn't really use attack speed whatsoever. So, like, what's kind of the point of it? So, maybe instead of granting attack speed, the human E can grant ability haste for a few seconds, Like, that makes more sense. She relies on her abilities, so grant ability haste, right? Okay, the 5th idea pertains to her cougar form. The cougar W, the jump. Please increase the jump range. Like, increase the jump range either in general or when she's below a specific health threshold. Now, here's my reasoning for that. Most, if not all, other assassins or assassin-leaning champions have some sort of reliable escape tool if things get rough. Like Evelyn has her ultimate, Zed has his shadows, Kiana has her like dash and her grass hide thing. Whereas Nidalee, even though she's a specialist, she is supposed to be more assassin-leaning. But it's just like she has no reliable way to get out of fights if things go rough. And once again, like she doesn't have the best survivability, so like if things go rough, you're pretty much dead unless you're like a really good player. And her R ability, her ultimate that transforms her between forms. I'd kind of like it if the ultimate did a little bit more than just transform her between forms. So here's some thoughts. When she transforms into a cougar, gain Omnivamp for 3 seconds upon entering combat. Continuing on with the trend of giving her just a little bit more survivability to, survive in fights. And also, when she transforms into a human, how about gaining a little bit of ability power for 3 seconds upon entering combat? This would tie in to like the additional passive of when she's in human form, her attacks deal additional damage based on her level and ability power. Now, those are just my ideas for like a mini rework of sorts to her kit. The most important things that I wanted to address with these ideas are make the spear easier to hit, make the traps feel more useful, give her a bit more survivability in combat, especially in Cougar form, and especially when her abilities are on cooldown, and also lean her more into being like a real assassin instead of like a yeah, kinda, but kinda no sort of thing, like but not fully disrupt her status as a specialist. Now, with my ideas out of the way, I did ask on the Nidalee Main's subreddit what their thoughts on her current status is and whether, she deserves like a rework or something. So as of the making of this video, the poll that I put up on the Nidalee Main subreddit has 267 votes. The majority of people say she's alright, but could benefit from a mid-scope slash mini rework. Many other people say she is perfectly fine as is, no update of any kind is needed. A few other people, not many, say she needs a full VGU slash kit overhaul, completely redesign the champ from the ground up. And then a minor amount of people say she's actually overpowered right now and she needs to be nerfed, which I personally disagree with that. I do not think she needs to be I don't think she is overpowered or needs to be nerfed at all. So, but everyone is entitled to their own opinion. So, what did some of the people in the comments say? Let's read some of the comments about what people think about her current status and what their ideas are on how to fix some of her issues. One person suggests that she needs armor and magic resist in cougar form like Jace, which I personally agree. She really does need more survivability in the cougar form. Another person said, she is fine as is. She is a difficult champion to play, but when mastered, she is a menace. I do believe a small rework for her would be great to make her a bit less punishing to play, which I also agree with. She is difficult to play. That learning curve does need to be respected. However, like small rework here and there could benefit her, to make her, better for more advanced players and also more appealing to pick up for newer or less skilled players, like myself. Another person said, personally, I'd like to see some stat changes in Cougar form, bit of HP or resistances. That's a good idea. A little CC on the trap would be nice, which I personally agree, as y'all know. And finally, someone else said, her kit's a bit of a mess of old design. I'd love to see more support for her as a sort of AP bruiser. Get some auto AP ratios on her human E, let her be an actual hybrid instead of an auto attacker or spear fisher with no in between. Which, that is actually a very interesting idea. There are a handful of people that do like to play her either top lane or support or even mid lane, and maybe that would help those people out a little bit. I don't know. But anyway, with all of that being said, what do y'all think of this? What do y'all think of my ideas? Do you think Nidalee needs a mini rework? Does she not? Is she perfectly fine as is? Is she, what's your thoughts on her current state in the game? Do you like my ideas? Do you not? Tell me in the comments what you think are good ideas, what you think are bad ideas, what your ideas for a mini rework pertaining to Nidalee are. I would really like to learn it because I really do like her, but, I do think she needs like an update to, address some issues that she has in her kit. But with all that being said, if you like this video, consider giving a like and subscribe. And yeah, bye.